Hello, welcome to What's New in Harbor 2.6. My name is Vadim Bauer. I'm one of the maintainers of Project Harbor, and I'm gonna walk you through today what's new in Harbor, what are the new features, deprecations, and also we're gonna take a look at the new features and try them out on a live system. All right, let's get started. So before we jump into the new features and functionalities, let's see what deprecations we have in 2.6. Well, the most notable one will be probably Chart Museum because this was this feature was widely used in Harbor. The second one is Notary One, frankly not very much used by in the community, so it won't be a big or won't be a big impact on the users. However, for Chart Museum, there is now an alternative. Since Helm 3.7, you can now store your Helm charts in an OCI compatible registry such as Harbor. For this, the advantage is you don't need any extensions for your CLI if you want to push and pull images, and this makes working with Helm charts a bit easier. Downside is if you're still using Chart Museum, or if you're still using the old version of Helm, or if your deployment and workflow process is stuck inside the CI/CD pipelines or GitOps pipelines, where you cannot easily switch the Helm CLI to a newer version, or inside the Helm CLI switch to the OCI registry, you need to start to act now, because the deprecation of Helm chart now means that you will have in 2.7 and 2.8 you will have Helm chart support, and starting from 2.8 it is possible that Helm chart or Chart Museum will be removed from Harbor. So it's roughly about 3/4 of a year or year time until you you will see this feature not be present in Harbor. All right, the next functionality is regarding or improvement is regarding caching. So there was a caching now added, or more caching functionalities were added, especially on project or metadata. So read operations or pull operations in a highly concurrent environment should be much faster now than previously. There is a website with the performance results of different versions of Harbor and different operations. I'm going to link the website with the results in the video and also on the blog post, so you can see how 2.6 performs versus 2.5. The data is not yet online, but it will surely be online, in next days, maybe weeks. The next functionality that was added and highly requested from the community are the CVE exports. So it is now possible to export CVEs that have been scanned with TreeVClair or whatever vulnerability scanner you're using. And now this is possible to export those CVEs on the UI, so you can click through the CVs that you want to export, but more importantly, if you want to embed this into your CI/CD pipeline and your CI/CD workflows, you can use the API, and it's very easy to use the API. I'll show you this as well here, and you can use it and export the CVs this way. Another notable new addition to Harbor is the audit log rotation and audit log forward. In the past, there was often situation if you have Harbor running for many years, and you have a lot of users doing a lot of operations on Harbor, pushing pulling images, your logs or audit logs could easily grow to like 10, 20, 30 gigabytes of data, and you had to manually clean those up. Now it is possible to rotate the logs, so you can keep the last month or last 2-3 years, however you like. You can keep those logs, or you can even forward those logs in a syslog format to another system where you can process them even further and make more sense out of it. I'm going to show you how it's working. Another functionality that was added is WebAssembly support, or WebAssembly module support to be precise. Now it's possible to not only push and pull WebAssemblies. I mean, you could do it before that as well, but now Harbor will show this web module as a web module in the UI and with correct metadata and correct icon, so you can have better support for web module assemblies. Next functionality is GDPR compliant user deletion. So when you delete a user, the user is actually not physically deleted from the system, because there are references to projects, references to audit logs and to other things inside Harbor. So the user is actually just marked as deleted. And now with the GDPR compliant user deletions, you will still not delete the user, but you will scramble the data of the user so that the entries in the database become GDPR compliant, and you can still trace down who did what. And if you have an external system, you can recover the data as well. Then the last functionality is the GC, so you can stop garbage collector. So if you maybe accidentally started garbage collector and it switches your registry in the read-only mode, and you want to maybe run it at night, or if it starts the cron job at the time where you doing some work and you need to push images, you can stop the GC. And now, okay, first let's take a look at the CV export. We have a project, or I created a project which is called example, and inside this example project we have Alpine 3.7, which has 2 vulnerabilities, and thankful container image node, which has a bit more vulnerabilities, 6,000 to be more precise. And we're gonna create now a CV export, and we do it first via the UI. So we click on example, on action, and then export CV. Now we can provide the repositories they want to export, so we can narrow it down, the text, and even labels on or CV IDs that we want to export. And then we can hit export. We see the event logs that the export is generated. And now when we download it and opened the CV file, we're gonna see something like this, a list of CVs that we can now use and process further in our pipeline. So let's take a look how you can do it in the pipeline. Let's switch to the Open API here and scroll down to CV export. There should be a scan and data export. Now we are can get a list of executions, the CV export executions. We can get one specific execution. We can start a CV export or scan, or actually export, not scan, and we can download it. So let's start one. First, we need to add the scan data type. All right, now I posted the scan data type, which is this one here. And now we need to set the filters and everything. We're just going to remove and leave everything at default, except of course the project. We set the project to 2, run the execution, and we should see the ID, the execution ID. And with that execution ID, we can go and the next step, download our CV export. Now we need to set the format. It's a CSV file, and then here we go. Now we should download the file, and now we see the download file. And all right, good. So this was the CV export via the UI and the API. Now let's move on in the audit log. The audit log is configured in cleanup section, and you have here the log rotation. Now you can configure the log rotation here. Well, you can schedule when the log rotation cleanup process should run. So it's a weekly process, and then how many days of records, or hours, how many days of hours or records you want to keep. In this case, it's a year, and then we include all operations that we want to remove. So we might even say that we want to keep all delete operations, or things like this. And then we can, of course, do a dry run, and also we can do a one-time purge that we run. And so let's move on to the next functionality. And the next functionality that was added is the support for WASM modules. And you can see I've created and pushed an image, which is a WASM example file. And you can see it. It's you can see it on the icon here. You can see it on the module, on the metadata module WASM image variant compat. So this was Harbor 2.6. What's new? What changed? I hope this video was useful to you. And if you didn't do so, please join our community on Slack. We're always eager to welcome new members. There's going to be also a blog post to this video where I'm going to post the links that I mentioned here, and we're going to also get references to the PRs. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye bye.